After missing an entire year of basketball because of an ACL injury, Kawhi Leonard was sidelined for the entire 2021-22 NBA season. To start this new NBA season, he started on a minutes restriction, and when he was playing, he didn't look like the Kawhi Leonard we were accustomed to. His overall speed and burst seemed like it was gone because of the ACL injury, and as it appeared, it looked like Kawhi Leonard had truly taken a step back. Luckily though, after playing more games and shaking off the rust, Kawhi Leonard has been playing like a top 10 NBA player once again, like he was before the injury. Since post All-Star break and even a bit further back, he's been on a complete tear in the open court when he relies on his deadly mid-range game. With the return of Kawhi Leonard being back and playing like the superstar he used to be, can the Los Angeles Clippers, as predicted by many, finally break away from the West and make their first ever NBA Finals appearance in franchise history? To start this year, as I stated, Kawhi Leonard just wasn't himself, which shouldn't be the greatest surprise. He didn't play NBA basketball for a whole calendar year, and his averages for the first 10 games look absolutely horrific. However, the numbers look drastically different when you look at his averages post All-Star break. You could argue these numbers look like Kawhi is actually peaking at the current moment in his career. He's adjusted back into the NBA's pace, and Kawhi Leonard has shown no room for weakness, just dominating his matchups whenever he gets the chance. It always looked like Kawhi is in total control and is always calm. You're never going to frustrate Kawhi because he only has one thing in his mind, and that's to destroy his matchup. In the mid-range, his shooting touch hasn't left. He's shooting 50% from the mid-range on 8.9 attempts a game, which lands him in the 90th percentile among forwards in the NBA, according to Cleaning the Glass. Sometimes I find it hilarious just how easy sometimes Kawhi makes shooting mid-range shots over defenders look. Even with a hand in his face, Kawhi, with no care in the world, will consistently drain mid-range shots, and when you account for the efficiency he's doing it at, it gets even crazier, him being able to hit mid-range shots at such efficiency with a crazy amount of volume. So far, if the averages stay the same, this will be Kawhi Leonard's best season from the mid-range according to the efficiency. He still has the movesets he had before the injury, him having a tight enough handle. He can just pick his spots routinely whenever he wants to go drill the shot, either with fades and shoulder bumps he loves doing when he's attacking downhill and bumping the defender a little to the side to create space for his shot. This isn't a new thing I'm pointing out, but it's for good reason that Kawhi Leonard's game gets compared to Jordan and Kobe a lot because of the skill sets and the array of counters these individuals love doing when they're setting up their dribble and they're operating in the post to shoot their mid-range shots. Also, Kawhi Leonard's mid-range prowess actually get heightened when he's the pick and roll ball handler. Kawhi averages 1.15 points per possession in the pick and roll on 4.5 possessions a game, and when you filter it to 4 possessions a game in the NBA, Kawhi Leonard is ranked 3rd in the NBA as the pick and roll ball handler. This is mainly because defenses today, they primarily run this defensive coverage called drop coverage. And if you don't understand what this means, it's basically when the screener's defender is dropped several feet away from the screen to prevent a shot at the rim and stop the roller from getting behind him. 90% of NBA teams use this as their base coverage since it's the most straightforward defensive coverage you could use against the pick and roll without taxing your defenders as much. The problem with this coverage though is that it allows and encourages long two-pointers, and for Kawhi Leonard, who is a marksman from the mid-range on a 50% clip, you're giving him these middies and hoping for the on-ball defender to navigate the screen to try to provide a contest. I believe isn't the best course of action you could run on Kawhi Leonard. Zubac comes to screen for Kawhi on the top of the key. Kawhi jabs right and takes one dribble to the left, and then he jump stops. Notice how DeAndre Jordan is dropped back to provide a contest on a drive and is conceding the mid-range, and it's left up to entirely Aaron Gordon to provide the contest, and for Kawhi, it's basically shooting over a chair. So instead of just running drop coverage all the time, teams would elect to switch the action, which doesn't do them any favors. Kawhi isn't Giannis or LeBron James, but he does have great strength to him, so if you do give him a mismatch, he will likely punish that matchup inside because of how Kawhi could just outmuscle them. In fact, Kawhi Leonard's averaging 1.06 points per possession in isolation, and when you place a bigger matchup on him, he could show that speed and acceleration when he gets to go downhill and apply rim pressure. Kawhi Leonard is just a walking mismatch for almost every defender in the league, because if you place a smaller mismatch on him, he can utilize the mid-range and shoot over them, or use his strength to get to the basket at will. Place a bigger body, he has such a nice handle that he could play around with them on the perimeter and then use his burst to get by them without much effort. So teams just have resorted to the usual trap and double Kawhi to get the ball out of his hands. And next to all those shooters on the Clippers, it can get pretty ugly, because when they could be good connectors and make the right extra passes, it will lead to high quality shots. And now that Kawhi is starting to become a walking 4-on-3 advantage creator, he's able to hit these guys in open space and have them be able to attack the defense in more favorable spots. On this possession, Russ goes to screen for Kawhi and slips, but quickly was going to go hedge and tag Kawhi. But because of the slip and the attention Kawhi demands, you now have two defenders all the way up near the half court line and no defender on Russ. Quickly realizes this and tries to make the rotation back, and Kawhi just simply throws the bounce pass to Russ, who goes for the layup, and it's called a goaltend. You see how quickly was basically forced to have to hedge, since he didn't want Kawhi turning in the corner on the screen and pressuring the defense, so they instead went to this approach that ultimately led to a fruitful possession for the Clippers. You guys should really focus on this little fun action the Clippers do here. Terrence Mann goes to set a screen for Kawhi on the top of the key, and notice on the left corner as this is going on, Plumlee goes to set a screen on Randle. Kawhi attracts two defenders to him and he throws the ball to Mann. Because of Kawhi's gravity, he gave Mann open space to attack the rim, and it forced Plumlee's man to rotate to the paint to provide deterrence. As Hartenstein made the rotation, Plumlee was setting a screen on Randle, who was guarding Batum, and Batum makes the baseline cut. Mann throws it to him for the slam. None of this wouldn't have happened if Kawhi wasn't able to attract the defensive attention to force an opening for his teammates. Now, when you flip sides of the court and now look into Kawhi Leonard's defense, I think we can be honest. Kawhi Leonard is no longer the defender he used to be in 2014 or even 2017. He's not as good at applying ball pressure to ball handlers coming up the court. His lateral quickness and shift of hips has diminished over time, which resulted in his defense and the value he brought on that end to get worse. Yet, still with all these negatives, to me, he should be viewed at the bare minimum a positive defender to good, because even with the decline in all those areas I named, he still has incredible defensive IQ and awareness that he can muck up ball handlers off the ball to get steals, and is still really good in passing lanes with that ridiculous wingspan of his. Because of him still having the length and ranginess to him, teams aren't going to look at him as a mismatch. And already he's still really good in isolation as well. And overall, just because he's not as good of a defender as he was in the past, he for sure is making up for it on the offensive end, being one of the best offensive players in the NBA. Kawhi isn't going to win MVP, might not even make an All-NBA selection this year, but at this point in Kawhi's career achievements, that doesn't really matter. It's all about winning an NBA championship. And as long as Kawhi Leonard is even 90% of what he was in the 21 season, Kawhi can very much, on the helm of the Clippers, take them to the Western Conference Finals again, maybe even this time take them to their first trip to the NBA Finals. I truly believe this because I think Kawhi is just that darn good of a basketball player, and as long as he stays like this and how he's been playing for the last 30 odd games or so, this Clipper team remains a prominent threat in the West. But that's just my opinion. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button since it helps my video perform better on the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and the post notification bell to always be notified whenever I upload a video. And let me know in the comment section below where do you guys rank Kawhi Leonard in the NBA currently, and if you think the Clippers are good enough to win the NBA championship. With that all being said, I hope you all have a blessed day.